Hey, it's Danger, and welcome once again to our virtual summer nights. You know, normally we would be over there at Karl Kustoms in the parking lot, packed in, enjoying your cars, music, food, prizes, and a great night. But because of the uncertain times, we're going to do the next best thing, and we're going to get together from the comfort of your phone or your computer and have another great night. We want to say thank you for joining us last month, and also thanks for sharing your vehicles with us. We're going to show those throughout the night tonight. We also have some other great things to enjoy tonight. First up, we'll go straight into Karl Kustoms with Karl Moyer, and he'll show us a 1935 Chevy build at the shop. Now, this car has already been completed once, but Karl wanted to go bigger and better and put even more of his personal touch on it. So he'll go into detail about what's planned for that particular car and what to expect in the months ahead. After that, we'll stay at Karl Kustoms and show you some of the cars that are currently for sale. They have everything from a Ford Model A to a Copo Camaro. So if you're looking to add to your own collection or even find a new toy for the summer, we'll show you what's available right now in our showroom. After that, we'll send it back to Karl Moyer once again, and he'll open up his personal collection and check out what else he has for us tonight. We'll also have a Guess the Horsepower contest that you'll want to stick around for. Then we'll catch up with our performance experts at Karl Kustoms and look at the all-wheel drive chassis dyno and give some insight into how we custom tune vehicles and give them the most horsepower possible. Finally, we'll take a closer look at the Karl Kustoms ice cream truck and take you inside to see the toys available to serve up those cold treats. And don't forget, again tonight, we want to hear from you, so use that chat. Give us some questions, give us your comments. We also have a separate post on our Facebook page that allows you to share pictures or even video. So take a quick video on your phone and share it with us. Tell us about your vehicle. Give us some insight and backstory on your dream car. We also want to know where you're watching from tonight. Iowa, Alaska, California, wherever it is, let us know. We are now ready to get the night started, so we're going to head over to Karl Kustoms and Karl Moyer about that 35 Chevy.
Hello and welcome to our Summer Nights continuation. The last time that we were together, I promised that we were going to have another episode which includes some more of our private collection vehicles that we have, and what I thought I'd do here in this episode is show you folks a vehicle that we've had in our shop for some time, and the first episode or the first attempt on this car was a complete frame-off restoration that was done here in the shop, and it was done in perfect detail. And there's only one guy I've got here in my shop that I let work on this car, and that's my friend Dennis Garland. And I'm gonna interrupt Dennis here and just ask him a couple of questions about what we're doing and why we're doing it. Dennis, can I see you here just a minute, please? So, if you wouldn't mind telling the folks what we did originally here and what we're doing right now, because to a lot of people, what we're doing right now probably wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, but some of the stuff we do don't make a whole lot of sense. But it's what makes one person happy that maybe another person would say you're nuts for doing it. But the very first time that you worked on this car, let's talk about what you did and how you did that.
Well, like you said, it was a totally body-off restoration. All the original engine, transmission, rear, and everything totally 100% original. And I think it was tan when it came in. We did a lot of body work to just make it perfectly straight, painted it black, and it turned out gorgeous. A lot of credit to the body men, to the painter. It's kind of a group effort.
So then one day, here comes the old man and drops a bomb on you, okay? Now we're gonna take this gem of an absolute perfect, like brand new 35 Chevy Coupe, and now we're gonna make it what I would have considered a really high line street rod in the 50s and early 60s. And so let's go through some of the stuff you're doing to it right now.
Well, I guess we started out by dropping the axle 3 inches, and then we had it narrowed a little bit to get that look that Karl wanted. And putting a later 6-cylinder in it with a 5-speed manual transmission out of an S10 and a 9-inch Ford rear end and disc brakes all the way around on it.
The drop axle 3 inches, and then the 9-inch Ford in the back, disc brakes all the way around. And tell me about this 5-speed transmission. And this is something that I thought was almost like a magic find when we found out that there was a GM 5-speed overdrive transmission that would fit in this car, and the shifter come out right, and it's like magic.
It was incredible the way it fit in there. Almost no trimming on the frame at all. So the frame is pretty much 100% stock. Like I said, the shifter came out in the right place. The drive shaft's going to work out good. Worked out perfect.
Okay, another thing we got coming that we don't have here right now. This car, when we put the disc brakes all the way around, we're putting a set of Dayton wire knockoff wheels on this car, which are going to be 17s in the front and 18s in the back. They'll look a lot like the stock look. There'll be it's a Dayton wire, which is a little bit tighter woven wire wheel with a actual knockoff on it. It'll be the yellow wheel with a white wall tire. So this car will end up having a lot lower stance front and rear than it had when it was new. Mm-hmm. So the next question is, when's it going to be done?
2 weeks.
Yeah, that's always the question.
Right. Yeah.
And but you know, when it's done, there's going to be something else that follows this to keep you busy. So
I'm sure of that. Yep.
Anyway, the reason I wanted to have Dennis involved here is because, like I said earlier, there's very few people that can do the quality work that makes me happy, and so that's something I'm very proud of. The work that's done to this car. You take this car anywhere, and the most critical judge on the planet would not fault this car anywhere. So,
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, and I appreciate it. So now we're going to move over to the heart of this car, which is the kind of a unusual approach to a 6-cylinder. Now, there's a lot of people that would take the easy route on this car and put a small block V8 in it, which you see every day of the week. You just don't see what we got going on with this 6-cylinder engine approach. And as well, there's another thing we're doing here. This is a straight axle that's going to have electric power steering on it. That's what Dennis is working on right now. So this car with a synchromesh, 5-speed overdrive transmission, power steering, and it's going to have a nice stereo in it. It should drive down the highway like a brand new car, like a dream. So we'll take a trip over to the machine shop and talk to Kent. Okay. Okay, like I told you, we're now in the machine shop with Kent Davenport, who has been a long-time employee here and has done a lot of engine work for me on our race trucks, and I'm very particular about that kind of stuff. And I've always, before we even opened up this business here, Kent done my engine work for years. I'm gonna say from the early 2000s. So anyway, I chose Kent to work on this motor we have right here. And this motor, like I said earlier, is something that we could have very easily done with a small block V8 Chevy motor and been like everybody else going up and down the street with a hot rod. But we chose to take a different approach. This thing right here cost me a whole lot more money than that V8 that I could have put in that car. And probably would have been a lot easier, and it would have probably already been done. But Kent, I'm gonna turn this over to you. Just explain a little bit what we have here, please.
This is a 6-cylinder, 1956, 235 Chevy, and of course Karl wanted a little more zip out of it, like everything. So we added some stroke to it, put 4 inches of stroke to the crank, bushed the lifter bores, put some mechanical roller lifters in it, and we had a camshaft built custom out of a stock of billet. And so now we've got a full roller motor with a 4-inch stroke, gas ported race pistons, and we're hoping this thing will probably do about 400 horsepower. We did quite a bit of port work to the cylinder head to kind of help that end of it. And we're also going to put, when we're done, we're going to put dual carburetors on it, dual 1-barrels, just try to get some air to go through this thing. So it should be a pretty sporty little motor when we're all done.
So anybody who's watching is sure welcome to come over here and see this in life whenever we get turned loose to do that kind of thing. But to me, this right here is probably one of the favorite builds that I have, just because it's so different, and I think you'll be able to hear this thing coming. And you'll be able to, it's going to have a distinct sound of its own, which any of you that have ever heard a dual exhaust 6-cylinder motor, normally what they have is a split manifold. So you want to take a look at the exhaust system here, and Ken will tell you a little bit about that.
This is a one-of-a-kind motor. There's not going to be another one like it anywhere. There's going to maybe be duplicated and close, but none with a mechanical roller cam and gas-ported pistons. We also put some big block Chevy rods in this thing so it'd stay together.
And as well, tell them a little bit about the clutch and that part of our deal.
Well, we've found an aluminum NOS flywheel to put in this thing, and we've got a lighter weight clutch in it. We've weighed everything, and I think we were maybe 50% of the rotating weight from the original motor. So we're hoping this thing's got some pretty good acceleration too.
Thanks, Karl, for the great behind-the-scenes look at this 35 Chevrolet. Right now, I'm going to go hop in the car. I'm going to meet Karl out at the house, and we're going to give you guys a sneak peek into some of the hot rods that are in the second garage out on Karl's property that we talked about last time. But right now, I'm going to send it back over to Danger.
Hey, thank you so much, Karl. Cannot wait to see that finished product. I love seeing Karl's personal touches on his hot rods. We are going to talk to Karl and see him a little bit later on in the show as well. And in case you didn't know, Karl's getting back in his race truck this summer, and he'll race in the Karl Chevrolet Dirt Truck Series. To celebrate that, we have t-shirts for sale with his truck and logo. So be sure to get a hold of Jamie Paulson to grab one and show your support for Karl as he gets back on the track. And now let's head back over to Karl Kustoms with Clint, and he's going to show us some hot rods that are currently for sale.
We're back here at Karl Kustoms. Not only do we take great pride in the cars that we build, but also the cars that we restore and the cars that we sell. So this car here is a perfect example. It's a 1940 Ford. As soon as we got it, we did a complete repaint on it. So that's perfect as it sits. It's got a really nice interior, leather seats, nice steering wheel, low car shifter. It's also got the creature comforts, such as the vintage air conditioning. This car is powered by a ZZ4 crate engine and has a 700 R4 transmission. It's got an aftermarket chassis. It's Willwood brakes and built specialties wheels. It's just a really nice driver, but it shows really nice as well. All right, next we're going to go check out a 28 Ford Model A pickup truck. This Model A is super clean. It's a California car. As you can see, it still has the California vanity plates. Like I said, it's a really nice, well put together car. It's got the Uga horn. It's got the chrome headlight eyebrows. Nice little features here and there. It does have a trunk in the back. It's a 2-speed. It's got a stereo inside. This car would make a really good driver if you wanted to take this Model A out and about with the family. And now we're going to take you guys to another warehouse where we've got 2 more vehicles we're going to show you. Here we have a 2012 Copo Camaro. This car is a 1-owner car. We've had it the entirety of its life. It's a full-on drag car straight from GM. It was one of 69 the year that they made it. It does come with a 2013 to 15 front and rear bumper, and we do have the earlier style front and rear bumper as well. But this car, like I said, it's a full-on drag car straight from GM. It was ran a couple of years with a different engine in it by Robbie Massey, who you'll see later on in our program. And it's back to its stock condition and has been ran very little in the past few years. So if you want a drag car straight out of the box ready to go, this would be a great option for you. Alrighty, and here we have a 77 Vet. This particular car is really rare. It's got the L82 engine with 4-speed. It's a 200 car. It's all numbers matching. There's about 12,000 original miles on it. This car's been kind of gone through and made perfect. It did have an engine rebuild. We did that here at Karl Kustoms. And then after that, the only miles that have been on it is to break in and test the engine afterwards. So if you're looking for a really nice, well put together 77 Vet, this car is definitely a really nice one. And now we're going to take a look at the 47 Mercury. This car is a really well put together car as well. It's got air conditioning, power brakes, power steering, an aluminum radiator, bare brakes, and American racing wheels. Overall, this is a well put together convertible. If you want a nice car that, again, you can take to the show and show off, and also a really good driver, this would be a really good option. So that's it for our cars for sale. If you saw anything you're interested, make sure to give us a call. We'll put you in touch with a salesperson. You can come out, check out these cars, go for a test drive, and then let's try to put together a deal.
Hey, Clint, thank you very much. Those are some awesome looking cars over there at the Karl Kustoms showroom. Don't forget, they are still open. Accessories, parts, machine shop, available by appointment, so give those guys a call for anything you might need. Now, we're gonna send it out to Tony, who's going back out with Carl Moyer into his personal collection. We're gonna see some of those awesome builds and get the stories behind them and why they're so unique.
Well, here we are doing the things that we talked about on April 22nd at the first virtual Hot Summer Nights, and we went through all the things that, not all the things, but some of the things that we have in our own personal collection at my home and in the garages we have at home. And the promise that I made to everybody at that time was that we're going to carry on and continue to show the things that we have, either work in process or actual vehicles that we have in our inventory. Where I want to start here with is the 1932 Buick Model 67 sedan. This car is a car that has a very interesting story that goes back to the day that it was sold new to a elderly woman. And this woman gave this car to my neighbor, John, who lived next door to me at the time. John was 15 years old. I got a picture of John standing beside this car when the lady gave it to him. And John kept the car, so John was the second owner of that car, and it was parked in the garage next door. The garage that now my granddaughter and her husband David owns. And the car was in dilapidated condition when I bought that property next door, and part of what I bought was everything that was in that garage, including the 32 Buick. So the 32 Buick was a rust-free, solid body car, but it was just rotten, deteriorated. So we decided to take the car to our shop and do a complete body off restoration, overhaul the motor, done everything including the interior, the paint, wheels, tires, the whole thing. It's a completely redone car that we've done in our own shop, and our family in general loves this car. We like to take a ride, the family, in the old Buick. So the Buick is kind of a heartfelt, cherished one of our cars that anyone in the family, if you mention going for a ride in the Buick, they're all up for that. So right next to that is a 1932 Chevy two-door sedan. This car has had 2 owners since new, a 37,000 actual mile car that we did in our own shop, a frame-off restoration. This car's got a 383 V8 motor, which has got what looks to be 2 4-barrels, but they're actually fuel-injected replacements for a carburetor. But it looks like an old Chevrolet V8 with 2 4-barrels. The car has air conditioning, power steering, leather interior, and the wheels on this car is just something that I personally happen to like. They're Dayton wire knockoff wheels on this car. And this car has the same exact paint combination as the 32 Buick. The colors are the same, and when they were born brand new, this is what was on both of them, brand new, which is the dark blue, and I don't know the exact name of the color, and black two-tone with the red pinstriping, and this is the way those cars were born brand new. So then next to that is another really interesting story. It's a 1938 Chevy two-door sedan. This car's got 28,000 actual miles on it and also has had 2 owners since it was brand new. Now in 1959, the original owner of that car drove it onto Crescent Chevrolet's used car lot. And at that time, Bill Jensen was a used car manager at Crescent Chevrolet. And he bought the car from the guy in 1959. Well, this car was parked upstairs for a lot of years. I knew that it was up there. And I talked to Bill Jensen about it several different times and tried to buy the car from him. And he said, when I get ready to sell that car, I'll sell it to you. So in 2006, Crescent Chevrolet was sold. And so Bill Jensen called me on the phone. He says, if you still want that car, he said, I'll sell that car to you, plus a 28 Chevrolet 4-door sedan that he had up there as well. And so I went down and looked at the car and bought it on the spot along with the 28 Chevy. And of course, the 28 Chevy didn't mean anything to me, so I sold that. But then the 38 Chevy, I was going to just leave it alone. But you know, a car, even though the car only had 28,000 original miles on it, it still drove like a 38 Chevy did back then, which was kind of like all over the road. The clutch chattered, different things about it that made it where you didn't really want to drive it. So I decided to leave the car as much the way that it was original. There's original Phillips 66 door jamb service sticker on that car, and I can't remember what the date is, but I left the DOT state inspection stickers on the windshield and different things I left alone on that car the way that it was originally. And we left every bit of the paint alone on that car. It's got the original paint, and you see people today doing patina style paint jobs on their street rods. Well, this one doesn't have a patina, it's original patina. And all 4 fenders I took off the car and we painted those. The colors on that car is gunmetal gray, and it's the original color that came on the car. And then the interior I did myself, and I took the interior out of the car myself completely. And back in the early days of my car career, one of the things that I personally did was detail and clean cars. So this was something that wasn't new to me. I took the interior out of the car and detailed and cleaned it. The original mohair interior is still in this car that came in it brand new, and it's in really nice shape. The original spare tires in it, the original jack, there was a container that had chains in it. That back in the day you'd put chains on your car in the winter. Had that, and so in the original floor mat is in the trunk of this car that has not been changed out. So we took the body off the frame, done a lot of work to the frame itself to make it nice. And of course, we went to the measures of lowering the car and put an all late model drivetrain in it, put power steering on it, a nice sound system in the car, and in-dash air conditioning, and a late model V8 motor, which is a 383. And we used, back in the day when this car was born, they used cloth covered wiring. Well, this car has still got, we used a original wiring loom, which was cloth, was brand new. So all the wiring in this car, rather than being what you see in today's wiring looms, this one is the original cloth wiring looms. So that's kind of the story on the 38 Chevy two-door sedan. And the other thing about this particular car, it runs and drives just like a brand new car. Then next to that is a 38 Chevy Master Deluxe Coupe. It's a 5-window coupe that I bought from a guy here in town. And we were at a show up at Dennis Albaugh's, and I was showing the 38 Chevy two-door sedan, and this guy had this 38 Chevy Master Deluxe Coupe there at the show. And so I did like I do a lot of times. I was talking when I should have been listening. And I told the guy he got ready to sell that car, I'd be a buyer for it. And so one day the phone rang, it's him. He said, I'm ready to sell that car. So I went up to his house and looked at it and ended up buying it. So after I got it, I was able to give it a close-up, and it wasn't quite what I thought it was. So we ended up taking the body off the frame, put an Art Morrison chassis under this car, and did a over-the-top restoration on it, and put a 383 with Inglesi fuel injection and automatic and power steering, and a really nicely done leather interior and leather in the trunk. And there again, that car is gunmetal gray, the same color as the other one. And it's a car that we took to the good guys in Columbus, Ohio. The car got the Street Rod of the Year finalist. It was one of the final pick for the Street Rod of the Year. So next to that, we've got a 39 Chevy Master Deluxe two-door sedan. This car has got many, many body mods, too many to mention, but a lot of the body mods that are done are hard to even notice, but cost a lot of money to do them. One of the unusual things about this particular car, it's got a 409, 450 horsepower, automatic transmission, all power, leather interior, and this car is like the 409s were back in the day. It's healthy. It runs really, really good. Next to it is a 34 Ford 5-window coupe that I bought from a friend of mine who is now deceased, and I bought it from his wife. And I promised his wife that this and another car, I would never sell them. So my promise is good. I still own it. This is a really unique looking car. It's a 5-window coupe, like I said, and it's a yellow car with red leather Recaro seats. And the Recaro seats is something that you used to hear a lot about, but they're a really comfortable seat. They kind of they've got the support, the lumbar, and the support around you that this is all power operated. And so it's got the Recaro seats, a nice stereo system, and in-dash air. And this has also got a late model 350 crate engine. It's got Pete and Jake's chassis, and it's a very well done car. And like I said, it's not for sale. Right next to it is a 35 Ford 5-window coupe, which was also one of the 2 cars that I bought from my friend's wife. And I promised her that neither of those cars would be sold. And to this date, I've kept my promise to her. And that car, the 36 Ford 5-window coupe, it's a color that's called Washington Blue. And it has the motor in that car is a Detroit flathead. That's a Detroit flathead. It's got 2 Strongberg 97 carburetors, headers. It's got a 5-speed transmission, and it's got a rumble seat. This is a really fun car. It's got a power rear window that runs the window down between the people in the driving compartment and the rumble seat, so you can visit back and forth. That's a really fun car. And next to that, I've got a 1932 Ford Highboy, which has always been one of my favorite cars. And of course, when you look around, it seems to be a lot of everybody's favorite car because there's a lot of them out there. But this is an all-steel 1932 Ford Highboy with a rumble seat. It's got a 383 motor with Inglesi injection. Like I said, it's got the rumble seat. This is a real fun car to take my wife and maybe another couple with us, and you can visit while you're driving down the road, and it's an open air car, which is kind of cool. Then we go back behind where all these cars are parked, and there's 2 Camaros, and they're both 2011 Camaros. And the one that's kind of a purple colored car is a Neiman Marcus edition. Now, I don't know if in the last few years if Neiman Marcus has featured cars in their publication, but for quite a while they did. And this was a featured car. They built 77 of these particular cars. This car right here, like I said, is a 2011 Neiman Marcus edition Camaro convertible. And this car is brand new, never been titled, and probably like the 2 Fords I talked to you about, this car is probably not for sale. And I say that tongue in cheek. If somebody likes it better than I do, maybe they could own it. So then right next door to that car is another 2011 Camaro convertible that is, it's got probably the most unusual story of anything that I own. Clear back when they first came out with the Camaro, which was 2010, they come out with the new bodied Camaro. My regional manager at the time was Maurice Williams, and he was my Detroit connection. We kind of helped make Maurice look good, so he always recognized that fact. So we were at a dealer meeting in Detroit, and they were showing what they were going to do with introducing the new Camaro convertible in 2011. Well, they had one of these cars, and it was on the stage, but it wasn't even a real car. Hell, half of it was made out of cardboard. And so Maurice got me off to the side, and he said, "That's your car right there." I said, "Well, tell me what you mean by that." And he said, "Well, when we start producing that car, you're going to have the first one that comes off the assembly line." I said, "Well, that's kind of neat." And so I just left there not really knowing what was going to follow behind that. So then I got a notification that the plant, it's in Canada, to take delivery of my new Camaro convertible, and I was at that time allowed to, and what I ordered up was a SS fully loaded black on black Camaro convertible. So unknowingly to me, there was 4 people that were going to be there to take delivery of their new 2011 Camaro convertibles. I was one of them. Rick Hendrick was another, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. was another. And the other guy, whoever he was, didn't even show up. So I don't know who he was or why he got invited, but there was a 4th car. And so what happened that day was they shut the whole plant down. Nobody was working that day, and they had the media out there covering this whole story of these cars being delivered. Then I got it home, and I couldn't leave it alone. I put a supercharger on the car and lowered it, had some fancy bullets made for the center of the hubcaps, and which is too long of a story to tell. And we made some really cool exhaust tips for this car, and has no miles. It's brand new. It's got, when I say no miles, it's probably got 20 miles on it, which would be driving from the race shop to home. But so that's the story on that car.
Karl, thank you so much. It is so awesome to pull behind the curtain and see Karl Moyer's personal collection and hear some of those stories behind those builds. Now we're going to have some fun with Karl Kustoms dyno. That's right, we've got a vehicle on the dyno, and what we want you to do is guess the horsepower. We're going to show you a clip right now, and in the chat, we want you to guess the actual horsepower. The person who comes the closest is going to win an awesome prize pack. Here's the clip. All right, now's the time to lock in your guess in the chat. We're going to reveal the winner later on in the show. Speaking of that dyno over at Karl Kustoms, we're going to head back over there right now with Clint. He's going to be talking to our performance expert, Robbie Massey. Robbie Massey is going to tell us how he tunes cars to get the most horsepower possible. He'll also give you insights on what you need to do to start your next performance upgrade. I think we got it.
Hey guys, we're inside the chassis dyno room here at Karl Kustoms. We wanted to take a little time and introduce you to our tuner, Robbie Massey, and he's going to go over some of the things he does and what we do with our tuning here. So we're going to come on over here and see him.
Hey guys, how you doing? I just want to give you guys a little background on what I do and kind of the tuning process and what you can expect, and maybe debunk a few things that you guys didn't know or do know, and just kind of clear those things up.
Here at Karl Kustoms, we work on many different cars. So if you've got an old carbureted car that you need tuned, we've got some guys here that do a really good job with adjusting the carburetor and making sure everything's working harmoniously with your engine. And then we've got the late model performance side, which is a lot of what Robbie does with the fuel injected cars. You know, anywhere from you know, the early fuel injection to, you know, brand new cars off the lot. He can kind of get in there and work on it for you. So Robbie, can you kind of explain what tuning is and kind of how it works? It's not, you know, some voodoo.
Yep.
There's some science and math behind it. Can you kind of explain how you tune a car?
Yeah. So anytime you do any modification to your vehicle that greatly affects the airflow going into it, you're going to have your vehicle tuned to get the most out of it and keep it running efficiently and reliably. Like Clint said, it's not some magic voodoo. If you bring a stock stock car off the lot to me, I might be able to gain you, a little bit of horsepower, but mainly what you're going to notice is better throttle response, maybe gain you some gas mileage, and firm up the shifts if it's on an automatic car. But yeah, without doing anything mechanically, you're very limited on what you're going to gain. We offer two types of tunes here, either a street tune, which basically will drive your car on the street, for an extended period of time. Make sure it's idling well. All the transition points are doing what they should. And then dyno tuning takes that a step further, where we strap your car down, and we're able to measure the power and torque output to the wheels, and really dial in the wide open throttle part of it. But that also helps keep it in a controlled environment where we're able to do what we do with the street tune just a little bit better on here. This is a load-bearing dyno, so I can go out throughout the whole fuel map and timing map and make sure everything's optimal for the type of fuel you're running, and also what you're going to be doing with it. We see anything here from street cars to race cars. And the power you'll gain from tuning is strictly based upon, like I said earlier, what you've done to it mechanically already. One thing I think gets overlooked is just throwing a bunch of parts at your car and hoping for the best. We're always a phone call away. You can always pick out the parts you want yourself, but it's very important to make sure you're getting the right combination of things to kind of get to the goal, or get to the finish line of the goal that you're wanting to achieve. Doing things in the right order, just to get the most out of your money, number one, because also with tuning, it's not some magic fix. If the combination is wrong, I'm not going to be able to fix it. So definitely give us a call, do your research, just to make sure you got all your bases covered, and we can help you out from there.
One thing I think that maybe gets overlooked in some areas, but what's really big here, and I know is with you, you can tune these cars to have all-out performance and give you some big number on the dyno sheet, but kind of what you like to do is have that car really drivable. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, yep, definitely. That's also, kind of consulting with us before you go out and buy stuff, because if one of your main goals is drivability, but you also want a big lopey camshaft, you really can't have the best of both worlds, especially in an automatic vehicle. You can only go so far. You can get away with it a little bit more on manual cars, but yeah, if you're looking for max all-out performance, there is a point of diminishing returns, from being able to run pump gas, for example, or making sure the thing's not going to pull you through the light while your foot's on the brake because you went too big on the camshaft.
So one thing that's really nice about us having this dyno here, say you're bringing the car in for mods, one thing that we'll do is give you a baseline. Can you talk about that, Robbie, kind of proving what that modification's doing?
Yeah, definitely. I know there's a lot of skepticism with dyno numbers. Any type of modifications that we're going to do to a vehicle, we'll do a before dyno if possible with your car. That way we can take away any guessing as to what exactly you gained from the money you spent or the modifications you did. That really helps out a lot because, like I said, we're going to do it on the same. It may not be the same day, but it'll be on the same dyno, the same correction factor. So there's going to be no question as to what you gained. Keep it as transparent as possible, because, like I said, there is a lot of skepticism with tuning.
Thank you, Robbie, for giving us kind of an insight on what you do and what we can offer here at Karl Kustoms. If you're interested in a tune, make sure to give us a call here. Get a hold of Robbie. We'll get you set up with a time. And also, if you're interested in just getting a baseline number for your car, like we kind of mentioned, kind of getting that baseline if you do any modifications, just give us a call. We'll set up an appointment. You can bring it out here or join us during summer nights whenever we get those going again. And we'll get you on the dyno during that. We like to get as many cars as we can on that night and kind of give the crowd a show. when we're able to do that again. So if you're interested in any of this, just make sure you give us a call.
And finally tonight, we're going to take a look at the Karl Kustoms ice cream truck. You've probably seen it out here at Summer Nights or out in your community serving up delicious treats from Blue Bunny and Casey's. Well, tonight, Karl's great-granddaughter, Peyton herself, is going to take us inside that ice cream truck to show us some of the toys that make it so special.
My name's Peyton, and this is my ice cream truck, and I'm going to take you inside. I have 2 coolers, and this is where we put all of our ice cream. We have ice cream sandwiches in here right now.
Oh, they do got ice cream in there. Thank you. I thought she was joking. They did. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You were awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. We bring my mom and my grandma sometimes. My grandma sits here.
She sits here.
We have lights, they turn different colors. And we have music and a radio. Hey, come get your ice cream. Thanks for checking out my ice cream truck, and thank you from Casey's and Blue Bunny.
To go along with the ice cream truck, we now offer official ice cream truck t-shirts for sale as well. They're available in all sizes, so get a hold of Jamie and she'll tell you how to get one of those shirts for yourself. Thanks for joining us for this virtual Summer Nights. Hopefully next month we're able to get together over at Karl Kustoms to enjoy some time outside, enjoying those cool cars, delicious food, music, and prizes. Remember, stay up to date on the Karl Kustoms Facebook page. In the meantime, thanks for watching, stay safe, and have a great night.